Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Potter here, obviously from Mount Shasta. Not my window behind me, that's what it's like. And check out Cosmic Ray, the gentleman above me on the screen. How you doing, Cos?
Fine, thank you, Rob. Thanks for the invite.
Well, I thought we would call this kind of Happy New Year and talk about some things, prognosis for the coming new year in the extraterrestrial uh, world in relationship to the Earth, and of course some other things as well. I just spoke to Omnic today, and first I'd like to just say it's a great honor to have you here, Raymond. Ladies and gentlemen, Raymond Keller is a magnificent person, and some people. I'm going to say he's the most important contactee on the planet right now with his information. Of course, Omnic, the woman born on the sixth dimension of Venus, who's been living here since 1948, and called me up today and to let me know that she's feeling better. She's had a couple health challenges here and there, but we are planning our conference, folks, and this isn't a big fancy announcement quite yet, but I want you to know that my Mount Shasta summer conference is going to be a Mount Shasta summer workshop. That's going to be from July 28th through the 2nd of July. Um, I will be doing wrap up on the 3rd. So if you're interested in coming, I'd like you to select those dates and put them aside for yourself. It's going to be Omnic, Raymond Keller, and myself. We may have some special guests. I've rented an absolutely beautiful Airbnb, um, and we're going to be able to have about 10 or 11 guests in the Airbnb. On the property are two other large buildings. We can probably fit like, 8 people. So this is a very special location with multiple platforms right next to a beautiful river with a beautiful yoga house, a giant kitchen, steam room, sauna. It's an amazing location for an event. And Omna told me she's very excited to be coming and looking forward to seeing us and sharing with you all the amazing information from the reality of a being who was born on another planet. Um, Raymond, you've been to Venus. Why don't you talk about the amazing life? I mean, she even comes from a different dimension. I mean, Raymond's writing a very special book. You don't want me to talk too much about it. I have mentioned it in the past, but um, why don't you share with us some of the amazing things that happen on Venus?
Sure, Rob. Well, I have to say that Venus isn't that much different from other planets in that it exists in different timelines and different dimensions, just like the Earth itself does. And of course, the the astral where Omnek comes from, that dimension is a very spiritual one. And it's a real blessing that she's here on the earth brought here in a physical form. Unlike myself and many others who are just incarnated here through many lifetimes from Venus, so she comes here directly in a physical form. And so it's going to be wonderful to have her there in Mount Shasta for sure.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, folks, if this will be the last time that Raymond will make it to Mount Shasta. He is finishing up some books, and he's been actually, they did tell him he will be ascending this year. He has no fear. He'll be uh, wake up in a new body on Venus, or who knows how he's going to get there. But when he passes over, he is going to be ascending to Venus. That's a pretty crazy, bold statement. But as time moves forward here, we're going to realize a lot of things. So, Kaz, I'm going to see if I can open up some stuff here. There's a tremendous number of extraterrestrials showing themselves to the public these days. Would you like to? I'm going to have you maybe comment a little bit um, about some of the videos I'm going to show you here, but there's a tremendous number of videos showing up. Um, let's just say um, all over the world with these amazing extraterrestrials. Um, do you have any uh, things you'd like to talk about? Have you heard of any major flaps there recently?
Well, we've all been kind of socked in with this winter storm Blair, so I haven't been out and about, but I've in contact with Fred Saluga from the Mutual UFO Network, and um, MUFON continues to receive reports from West Virginia and from Pennsylvania, and we're going to talk about some of those on St. Patrick's Day at the Wheeling Public Library in West Virginia.
Huh. Okay. Um, so I guess, and that's on March 17th. That's a ways off, and Wheeling, West Virginia, huh?
Yes, it's going to be a pretty big event. The library is across from the old railroad station there in downtown Wheeling, and has a large capacity. I think it could hold about 200 people.
Okay.
Their auditorium.
All right. Well, okay. I'm
Everybody's invited. It's free.
okay. I'm trying to find some stuff here, folks. We weren't really super prepared here. I thought we would talk about some stuff. So let's talk about the new administration. So I'm going to tell you, folks, I'm going to drop a little bomb here. Donald Trump died in 2022, and they've been running a couple clones. A lot of different views on that. And I'm going to say most of the people out there talking about the Trump administration are well intended and do believe something good's going to be happening. But unfortunately, from ground command, Kim Gogan, and I'll share that information here in a minute. You can check it out that there's pretty much been a lot of lying going on. And everyone, all the governments in the world have put their faith in the Trump operatives. These are people who are not in charge, who used to meet with angels or extraterrestrial demons and make plans to create wars and destroy the planet. That's over now. I'm going to tell you the US government is broke. We saw Justin Trudeau retire. There's going to be a lot more retirement from different politicians who are getting ready to run because there's not much ability for them to keep up the narrative anymore, including Trump. So at some point in time, without any money, the entire federal government is going to collapse. They're going to try and keep things out. They may push back the inauguration because when Trump gets in office, they've made a lot of promises to finance the entire world. But I'm going to tell you, folks, it doesn't really matter. The federal governments, they don't really do anything. It's I'm putting my reliance on the people, and that's what the Venusians are very prepared for, is for mankind to find solutions. When we have food shortages, the government really doesn't do anything. It's up to the people and the ability for us to come together, and that's a very important thing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the farther future, and I'm going to play a message from the Queen of Venus, and I'm going to let Raymond Keller make some comments on that. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to play uh, one of the last messages here. I might do 2022 if I can pull that one up. Uh, I'm not allowed to play Raymond Keller's one, but let's try this one here and see if you guys like this. Make sure you can hear this one, okay?
Dear friends of Venus and Lightworkers assembled at Mount Shasta in Northern California this 22nd day of June 23rd for the opening ceremonies of the 23 Summer Conference, The New Spiritual Paradigm, Angels and Extraterrestrials in the Multidimensional Universe. This is the Queen, Lady Order of Abahar, the planet of abiding love that you know as Venus, is speaking to you from a safe house situated somewhere on the east coast of the United States. I consider it a great honor for me to address you today. In the coming days, you will interact with many ascended souls touching your spirit to activate both a personal and collective transformation of consciousness, advancing you to yet higher levels of awakening and understanding. We have taken good note that many of you have already expressed your appreciation to Commander Valiant Thor, Alan, Lady Columba, Lady Aurora, Commander Aura Reigns, Dr. Frank E. Stranges, our historian published Virgilius Morrow, our ambassador Omnek Onek, Helen and Betty Mitchell, Sister Thedra, Lady Ankara, and many others so dear to my heart, those of our angelic forces of light, for granting you access to night classes aboard our Victor class cloaked and ethereal star vessels in orbit above our planet. We are also pleased that so many of among you have already recognized your callings and missions in preparing your fellow beings of Earth for overcoming the obstacles that are surely headed to your planet in the difficult days ahead, long foretold by the avatars and prophets sent among you since the beginning of recorded history. You, dear brothers and sisters in the light.
So there you go, folks. I just wanted to share with you this the image here of Valiant Thor, and I think we can go ahead and share a couple of these messages or the images that the people they talked about. So this is Valiant Thor, who landed in 1958 in the Pentagon. Cos, why don't you have a little talk about that? I'm going to be
Oh yes, he
bring up
went to
Dr.
the
Frank images as well. Go ahead.
in March of 1957. Um, he landed outside of in a remote controlled Ventla or scout ship on the outskirts of Alexandria, Virginia. And then a year later, he was at the UFO meeting of the High Bridge Flying Saucer Club in New Jersey, where the famous photos of him and his contingent, as well as all the other people at the meeting, were taken by August C. Roberts, which I posted on rents.com and on your site. And so that's a very important link. That was Valiant Thor serving as an emissary from the Venusians to the United States government. So we know that the government knows an awful lot about UFOs, where they come from, what the purpose of extraterrestrials is here on the Earth. And as you noticed in the noted in the opening remarks by the Queen, that she talked about personal revelation and personal disclosure. So ever since 2021 and the congressional hearings and on June in June 25th of 2021, the government has revealed a little bit more, but of course they're not going to come out and tell us everything. They can't do that because that would be the end of their system of things, so to speak. And then we have Hollywood, which slowly leaks information about extraterrestrials and their presence here on Earth. And these are some of the themes that I discuss in my UFO books. My recent one about um, the ETs, the real resident aliens. That's a theme in that book. But the most important thing is what the Queen talked about is the personal revelations. So I know this is a fact because many polls that have been taken indicate that not only do 65% plus believe that uh, UFOs are real extraterrestrial or ultra dimensional craft, but 15% say that they've had contact with the intelligences behind flying saucers and uh, behind the appearance of these UFOs or UAPs, as they're now called, unidentified aerial phenomena. So that means that at the very least, 45 million Americans have some sort of communication with extraterrestrials and ultra dimensional beings. That's why it's so important that we continue to follow this up on a personal level because we're going to know a lot more about it directly from the Venusians and other extraterrestrials than we ever will from the government, which is just well, that disclosure might be kind of like a slow leak. The extraterrestrials to individuals personally, it's like an open fire hydrant. So uh, this is the importance there about disclosure. And of
Yeah.
course, Dr. Frank Stranges, she mentioned him, and he was he was a very good liaison at the time, but even he pointed out that there are many other kinds of extraterrestrials out there besides just a humanoid, human-looking ETs, and so um, that's why the personal disclosure is so important because um, most people won't be able to just grasp it
Yeah.
on their own about the different kind of beings that we're going to encounter out there. So the initial contacts will come from humanoid looking beings, but then they'll be gradually introduced to the other inhabitants of this galaxy and beyond.
So here we see Dr. Frank Stranges. I showed another picture of him earlier, and I also showed the picture of Valiant Thor here at High Bridge, New Jersey. And there's Jill Thor, and that's Don Thor. This allegedly is a woman named Tanya. I've never heard about her, but we can ask, I guess. And of course, this is Valiant Thor looking all dapper in his suit. When I met him, he was dressed in kind of a normal clothing with another gentleman. And I'm going to share with you here um, some some more images. Um, I'm going to stop share. I'm going to share a few more images from the Venusian image file, and I think I'm going to give you all a quick look at the Queen of Venus. I've shown this many times, but this is the Queen of Venus, and you're going to notice along with her are two other gentlemen. The blonde-haired guy with the big glasses is from Mars. His name was Ramu, and the one on the right in the shadow. His name is Fircon, and the woman on the left is Lady Orta. And my God, does she love these sandals? She's every picture we see her in with Raymond, there she is. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit and see if we can uh, get a little bit better look at them here. Is that a little better for you, Cause? Can
Oh
you?
yeah, that's good. Mhm.
Okay, so why don't you explain this photo, Cause?
Okay, these photos were taken on the 9th of August, the weekend, at Mount Palomar in California at the Skyline Lodge on the edge of the parking lot. And during the during the conference, um, they saw the woman and the two gentlemen um, that were there, and they didn't attract attention until George Adamski, a famous contactee at the time. He was one of three contactees at that conference, including Truman Bethram and Daniel Fry. Um, until Adamski pointed out a portrait of Orthon that was hanging in the hallway. And then they couldn't, the people there couldn't help but notice the similarities in appearance between
Is this,
the woman there identified as Dolores Barrios and the painting that's the painting there
yeah,
of Orthon. And so they surrounded them on the first day, on the 8th of August, and so that they just kind of quickly gave some answers and ducked out of the crowd because they didn't want to. Uh, uh, they kind of felt overwhelmed, and then on the second day, um, they were back at the conference, and then they chased them down to the parking lot where they finally managed to snap some pictures of them.
they chased down,
So
huh?
these were Venusians and extraterrestrials from other planets, as you said, Mars and Saturn.
Right. So there's a they chased him down. That sounds a little disconcerting, but I guess that's
Well,
what,
like today with the paparazzi, how they uh, pester people till no end.
yeah, to get the exclusive and all that. Unfortunately, that's not the way that we should be approaching the situation. Um, I'm gonna um I'm gonna share. This is a possible Venusian sighting here.
Oh, what I also discovered was that 3 hours later, on the other side of North America, at Shirley's Bay in Ontario,
Yeah.
where Project Magnet was, at
Wait,
the exact same instant that um, that Lady Orta and her party disappeared into a hovering UFO overhead at the edge of the forest in the parking lot at the Skyline Lodge. Um, Over at the Project Magnet headquarters, uh, all the um, all the electronic instrumentation there, uh, UFO detection gear and everything went crazy.
so well, now it must be going crazy constantly. But I wanted to ask you, so was the spaceship visible to everyone at that event?
Oh, yes, at this particular event in California,
Palomar, Mount Palomar, yeah.
yes, it was visible uh, to those that had followed down to the parking lot, and also they kind of got some help from bees because there was a swarm of bees that engulfed the crowd that went down there
So let's
until
make it a little clear.
allowing them time to get away.
So at the second day, it was getting hot. People were kind of like, "Oh my God, that looks like the woman in the picture. She could be the Venusian." So they got a little overzealous, and of course, the Venusian queen and Firkan and Ramu could read their minds, and they asked them some questions like, "Where are you from?" And she said, "Well, I we live in Redondo Beach, and we're roommates." And you didn't really have roommates back then, and people got a little zealous and chased him down into the parking lot. And you notice that image there with Georgia
And
Dam.
don't forget it was 1954 and she was wearing like a mini skirt.
That's how salacious of her. Yeah, it's so here's a picture of Georgia Damsky um and her, and what she's holding in her hand is actually um a it's a communication device. She did not want him to know that she spoke English, especially with a Spanish accent, because she was born on the earth in 1585. So this woman is now the Queen of Venus, and Raymond Keller so kindly arranged for me to receive these messages. So I'm going to share with you um, a couple other images here. Um, and here's looks like a Venusian to me. It's just my sister. Anyway, um, so uh, in reality, ladies and gentlemen, they can just walk and talk and pass as one of us. There's no problem for them to do that. I'm also going to share a few more images and go over these real quick with you. Um, so
By
let me,
the way, that the 9th of August was the last day that the Shirley's Bay Project Magnet was in operation.
that we know of.
Yeah, that we know of. Of course, it probably continued under some other guys.
Right. So there probably weren't, I mean, they obviously had a lot of UFO activity, I'm imagining. So that they were recording. I, I don't know how long it had been up, but let's go ahead and look at some more Venusian images. So here is the famous picture, and this is I kind of edited it out. I maybe shouldn't have, but I wanted to emphasize the the image of the moon base commander, Aura Raines. And I can't share you that picture because she does have a an Earth-based life, but here she is. And folks, on her right is a guy named Frank Scully, the originator of the X-Files. Right behind her is Giant Rock. In fact, this big piece of rock here has been broken away now by a lightning strike. And on the left is Long John Nebel, very famous radio guy back in the day. He was very famous with sharing their information. So I'm going to go into share some other images here, some Venusians just for the heck of it.
Oh yeah, I have to say that about Long John Neville, it's long before there was Art Bell or George Norrie. Long John Neville was interviewing a lot of UFO people in ufology, and especially the contactees on his Party Line radio program, which was on WOR 710 AM on the dial out of New York. And before satellites and everything, but the signal was so powerful it went out to 25 states and half the Canadian provinces.
That's
So
amazing.
it was really quite a program.
Yeah, the true host of late night in the metaphysical realms, and now we have the former naval intelligence officer George Norion. Uh, Probably a nice guy, seems nice enough. He's definitely controlled disinformation, folks. You're not going to get the truth up there. They're going to poke around it a little bit. And here's the beautiful Annalise Guerin in Idaho Falls, Idaho, at the age of 16, a Mormon saint who translated to Venus later in her life. And there's amazing stories Raymond and I have done about her when he met her in his first incarnation on Earth, and another one. But I wanted to share. Here's the Queen. So when they disappeared, folks, the Queen has a little technology. So I'm going to share this with you here. And this technology is right here. It's in her hand. See these sandals? This picture is taken in 1954. See her hair? She's looking like that one there. And I talked to a guy named in Ground Command. His name is Thomas Melville, and he sat on councils where he knows that this woman is the head of the Solar Council. She is the one in charge of the solar councils in the solar system with the Galactic Confederation of Light. Some people talk about the Galactic Confederation and say there is no confederation. That's simply false. But here she is in her miniskirt and wearing a regular Earth shirt. She's quite fragile. She's 5'2", uh, eyes are brown. And
So, yeah, Rob, you don't see people dressed like that in 1954 attending other, functions like the Skyline Lodge. And there are pictures in the October 12th, 1954 issue of O Cruzeiro magazine from Brazil, written by a reporter from Brazil who was there covering this event in
right.
Palomar. And all the pictures of everybody else there, they're wearing formal dresses and suits and ties and everything. And here you see her and her two friends dressed quite casually and not at all in line with the mores that you'd expect from somebody from 1954.
Yeah, well, here's a beautiful picture of the close-up I have hanging in my hallway. Um, I was pretty surprised when Raymond played the message from the Queen of Venus, and I would realize she knew who I was. And this led to there's a book by a guy named John Dean where he was receiving letters from the Venusians, and a Venusian, we were talking about that book, and another Venusian handed it to Raymond in Michigan, and then he sent it to me. And I said, well, why can't I write letters? So that's began my association in 2017 or 18 with communicating with this beautiful woman, now the head of the solar hierarchy of light, born on Earth in 1585. So I'm just thought I would take this time here today to share with you. That's how Raymond gets the messages that he gets to me. I'm a little bit shy lately. I've been really trying to rethink my whole perspective here and what I'm doing. So when in the 60s or the 70s, 1972, Raymond went to a very famous contactee that we both know named Gabriel Green. And again, that woman, Dolores Barrios, who did hold a position as a seamstress in Hollywood on many of the sci-fi movies. Here she is with Raymond Keller in 1972 at an Air Force base. Raymond was working with the Top Gun. They blanked out the back because he didn't want people to know that he was on the base with her. But um, there's Gabriel Green's name, Amalgamated Flying Saucers Club of America. Robert F. Kennedy was a member and actually visited Dr. Frank Strange is asking about Valiant Thor. So there's one big Venusian family here. We're all connected. So Raymond suspected but did not know that this woman here, Dolores Barrios, was a Venusian. And in 2000, December, I don't know, maybe 19th or 18th, whenever you got picked up, then they flew to Venus. So she took him to Venus in 2012, and he's known her, and she had not aged at all. I mean, that was pretty much a big sign for you, right, Cos?
Yes.
And I mean, did you did you ever mention to her about those sandals?
No, I didn't pay particular importance to them, but later on, I knew the man who worked with Dr. George Hunt Williamson and brought Williamson and Adamski together. in 1951 at the Masonic Hall in Cleveland, Ohio, where they met for the first time before their contacts and so forth, out in the desert in 1952. And then after that, um, my friend is a member of the Talonic Research Society, and he also worked out at Livermore Labs as a physicist. Um, he was given mailed the footprints of the Venusian at Desert Center, California, uh, and had them. There was all kind of inscriptions and so forth on the bottom of them, and had uh, the plaster casts analyzed. He analyzed them and found out that they were from
Size,
essentially uh, for a smaller size woman, like a petite woman.
right. Well, here's a picture of Raymond Keller, the one that you see behind him there. And we're going to introduce you here to the Queen of Venus in this particular image here. And note again, she's wearing those amazing little sandals, and she's carrying a little device in her hand. God, why don't you talk about the device in her hand and in your hand and the amazing story of this inadvertent time travel mishap where you literally, this is the moment when you touch down in 1954, projecting in a, a bilocation signal into the past. Your ship faltered and you're landing in 1954. Did something in your head go, Marty, where's Doc Brown? Got to get back to the future. Explain a little bit about this incredible event when you and the
Yeah,
Queen.
these little devices are nimbuses, as they're called. Um, I didn't know that as it turns out, I think you pointed it out to me that in the Harry Potter thing, they're also called nimbuses, or
Yeah, they have a little thing. It's a game where they play with their broomsticks and they fly on them. They catch a little flying nimbus. It's
well, what? Yeah,
yeah,
what? Yeah, it's kind. I guess you could say it's kind of something like that. It provides for a force field and a short range teleportation device.
right. And what are we looking at here, Cause?
Okay, this was at the Landers Field at the first interplanetary spacecraft convention, and this was covered by reporters from the local papers, and depicts the crash of the time probe out in the desert.
Okay, well, let's I guess we might have to go back and talk about the actual time probe, perhaps. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that'd be okay.
Okay. So why don't you talk about what happened there? It was one of your last days on Venus. And
Yes, so that the uh, they have a temple of history there, um, which which has fourth dimensional time travel technology, and in there they have a device um, which historians can use to explore time and check on anomalies in the space-time continuum. And uh, it's supposed to work that you are simultaneously uh, in the, in the in this probe, which is a spherical-like device, uh, could seat up from 2 to 4 people could fit in there, and it is yeah, like in the picture there that you see,
so
and
yeah, I want to ask a question there because there were three of you. Did she just mentally create another chair
I
in the
know, and on the back side, so like it's you're only looking at chairs on the front side of it, but
Oh,
there's also to the back side.
oh, cool. So four of them. So, um,
You could fit four in there, yeah.
right. So there's four behind. So when you were going, you were sitting in the back seat when you returned, and then Truman Betham was at the pilot. Queen was in the front seat, right?
Yes, that's right. And the thing about it is, um, you are actually in, you're actually remaining in the time temple. It's like a bilocation signal, um, and you're simultaneously in the time probe, moving around over the site. But as it happened, um, that was a perilous time to actually go there because there were nuclear testing 2 weeks before and a week after. And one of the effects of nuclear testing is to disrupt the tachyon field. So you have disrupted tachyons that are pushing forward and backward in time. They become excited particles. And so caught in the middle of two nuclear tests that it just
So
crashed through the time
here,
barrier.
so here we are in the year 2012, sometime in, I guess I'm going to say February. The Queen of Venus says, Raymond, would you like to go back into the future? And she's thinking they're going to stay safely in the time temple and they're going to project and open up, I guess, kind of like a wormhole in a sense,
Yeah, and just like peering through a looking glass,
into the past.
and and just seeing what was actually taking place.
And so
Uh,
she let Raymond pilot it. So
yeah,
he goes, take it down to 1,000 feet. Now you got to imagine oh my goodness, what did they do? This is the new Queen of Venus, the head of the Galactic Confederation of Light, making a rookie mistake, and she's got Raymond with her. And it's all ordained, it's all perfect because those pictures that you saw of that ship crashing in 1954 at the first Giant Rock Convention were not available in our timeline until after 2012. This is a phenomenon, and some people call it the Bernstein Bears or Bernstein Bears or the butterfly effect or something happened there. And so here that big thing crashing through the sky there was actually them coming down. And so the Queen,
they weren't even supposed to see us.
right, and here you materialize and you're crashing to the ground. And the Queen was pretty calm, but so was Raymond. And she goes, "Oh," and he goes, "What do you mean, oh?" And she said, "Well, take it up." And she, as they took it up, it started to fall apart. And she said, uh, "Grab your nimbus and take my hand." And as he did that, the ship broke up around them. It fell to the ground beneath their feet, and here they are, hovering 1,000 feet above the earth. And so the queen, using her superpowers, they landed gently like Superman. And look at the picture over his right head there. That's the moment that they landed. And there were two UFO people who were very excited, Pal and Dixie Garrett, and they exclaimed, "We knew you would come."
Yeah, they explained that everybody was expecting the arrival of a Constellation class Venusian uh, mothership,
Really?
and of course, nothing like that showed up, but we showed up.
Well, thank goodness. So you
And
showed
so
up.
her appearance, um, Pal and Dixie Garrett had some extra clothes to give us to wear, so we could walk around there at the and so that was very fortunate. But her appearance really stood out and attracted a lot of attention over there too.
Did she have special marking on her shoes at that point?
Yeah, on the sandals, yeah, there's a there's some markings there.
Yeah, I happen to know what those markings are. Cause told me I cannot reveal them. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it makes sense what they are. So imagine that, folks. Here's Raymond landing back in the past. And what were you looking at exactly when you're looking at your Earth-based device that's been converted to a Nimbus? What were you reading in there? Do they have some digital screen in there that you were able to see?
Well, yeah, I could tell that um, it's kind of like a link, also a mental link with her. And that's all I can say about it, really.
Yeah, you can't reveal some of the secret initiate information of interdimensional time travel. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the humility and the kind of gentle nature the Venusians look for in Raymond. So, why don't you explain about why everyone's wearing, why you guys are wearing black in this particular instance?
Okay. Well, um, when you get into this bubble, into this time probe, they have to bring the temperature down. They can't reach absolute zero, but almost to absolute zero on the outside of it. Um, it protects it protects the ship and the occupants inside of it and from the tachyon field because it's jumping into I guess the best word would be like a hyperspace where everything is moving at faster than the speed of light. And and the the freezing protects the integrity of the time field inside the ship as opposed to the pressure of the time field outside, which is a much higher vibration.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people have speculated on some, those orbs, and I'm kind of curious here. I'm gonna pull up another image that I like. Um, let's see here. Yeah, the pictures of the orbs. You know those pictures with all those little bubbles? Are those Venusians visiting?
Oh yeah, yeah, those are Venusians. There's some film from CBS television that's on that video, Dolores Barrios and the Sixth Race of Love.
I did. Wait a minute. What's that about?
Oh, that's uh,
You heard of that?
it's a composite of photographs and film from NASA and from TV stations about the appearance of orbs, Venusian orbs, uh, over Mexico City and in outer space and all kind of things.
Wow. So the government has determined that those orb photos are uh, are actually Venusian orbs.
Right. If you can, um, it's on YouTube, I believe, and I think maybe 1,000 people have looked at it. It's called Dolores Barrios and the Sixth Race of Love.
Well, I'm going to do a little treat for our folks here. We have we do have the little video. I didn't show this on the last time, did I, Cos?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm gonna share with you guys a special little video that we don't always share, but I think it's time once again to bring out uh, the Nimbus photo. Raymond did get in a little bit of trouble for this. When you have something like this, you never use it for robbing banks or anything. But Raymond was serving in the Christian socialist type of movement where helping older people get places and basically
Oh
kindly,
no, it's just with the Red Cross through In Touch and Concern, helping disabled
there you go.
people and seniors. I think you're confusing
I
with
know, I know. Yeah, Aurora and during
yeah, Annabelle Krebs and
right. But
Lady
ba
Columba.
basically he's serving people in need. And he has his Nimbus here, and he likes to when he does this, he likes to pick up the book and just pretend like he doesn't where he's being photographed. He told them there would be the guy said, I have a laser. He said, well, there'll be a buffer behind me when he turns it on. So this is I think there's only about 100 views of this, and I myself have personally showed it 50 times. Um, it's on some of my things, but I don't want to put it out there to the public and located. It's in a private uh, place on YouTube. And so Raymond's going to stand up here. And he did this also another time with some little children at a thing where he did share with others. But in this particular instance, he's going to basically disappear. And this is for his own security in case something ever he's required to, if any government agents come, he's going to know who and where they are and when they're coming, and he'll be notified. And it'd probably beam them out. So there you go, folks. I'm not going to play that again for you, but that shows um, an amazing event. The guy was like, "What the hell?" He had no audio on that, but Raymond didn't use that to go and steal money. He didn't use that to take a free trip to Mount Shasta. I wish he would, but um, occasionally, he may be asked to go to some base underneath the ocean and needs to get down there to deliver a message to the ant people or something. Who knows?
So there's like a um, an outline around the shape of my body where the where that laser never affected the anything in the background. Uh,
Yeah,
it that's a kind the kind of buffer that I was talking about.
yeah, it's a bubble, literally.
Yeah,
So,
you just like step right into it and you know, like a cloak of invisibility, I'd say.
so they're in Parkerburg, West Virginia. Raymond is uh, serving as helping out with a little camp out of some little less privileged girls, and these two friends took a shine to Raymond, and he wanted to take them to this library, and they were accompanied by a reporter. And they said, "Wait here." And they waited at the edge of the library entrance, and Raymond went in to the library. He activated his Nimbus, as you saw, and he flash disappeared. They didn't know what was going on, and so they went back to the campsite, and Raymond had arrived 20 minutes earlier. He simply, boom, decided to head over to that location, and these girls were looking at each other afterwards. They watched him disappear. I'm sure this is a powerful event in these girls' lives, and I'm sure they're at some point they're gonna be thinking, do you think they followed you at all? Have they ever reached out to you?
No, I didn't really know that really know their names. Uh, um, uh, a photographer from In Touch and Concern took the picture.
Wow. So let's go. I'm going to share another little thing here, and then we'll another little image. But because when Raymond and Lady Orta were in 1954, they were kind of like, well, what are we going to do? Um, how are we going to get back to the future? They're literally, and so Raymond, the little scavenger he is going around. He's picking up a motorcycle plate. He goes, the butterfly effect. I don't care. We'll send them all into a black hole. I'm just gonna. So, I mean, they're there. It couldn't be kept secret. Obviously, it's too hot of a potato for anyone. They mentioned it to someone, and maybe Pal Dixie Garrett just told someone, and they told someone, or someone.
Yeah, the campsite where we were at, there was
Where'd they come from?
well the I don't know where the license plate came from, but there was a motorcycle license plate there from Nevada from a year before.
Yeah, but oh no, wait, I'm gonna get the I want to get this other one here real quick. Um, yeah, we have one of the here it is. So this is the one I want to oops, I'm sharing screen. Sorry. I did not want to share that screen. That's okay. So this is a picture. So they couldn't stop it. So um, finally, there's a newspaper from the New Millennial Store, like the Los Angeles Times. Look at the quality of this photo, folks. This picture is from 1954. Raymond bought it back from the past into the future. Um, and
That
here's
was the Los Angeles Daily News, and the following day in an article by the reporter that we met over there, Don Wiggins.
so here we see the Queen underneath her black pantaloons. She had another pantaloons. Venusians really love these Saudi Arabian pantaloons, the loose dress and wearing a shirt. And she's quite beautiful here. Even looks like she's wearing makeup, but that's probably just her normal rosy countenance. And here she is, ladies and gentlemen, at 500 and years old, or something like that at this point, born on in the Basque region of France in 1585. So this is, yeah, so she's quite old here and from the future, wearing those wonderful sandals that she really likes. And then they had taken her into the um, to the welcome in little coffee shop, and the guy goes, "What's this story? You're from Venus." And go ahead. Were you in there, Cos? Why don't you share that story?
Oh yeah, and she just said that she said, well, she's actually was in Manhattan Beach, but she said, I'm I'm not from Venus, I'm from Venice, Venice Beach, and that's what he wrote in the paper.
Right. Did he talk about anything else in the article?
Well, he said he thought she was a beautiful woman.
Now 5'2", and so Raymond's said some elderly gentleman there was there. So tell us, how did you get back to the future? You eventually contacted. Tell the story of how you guys got picked up and beamed out of there and where you went.
Okay, well, we um, fortunately we were in a place where there, you know, this is the whole history of flying saucers, and everything begins at this place. So Truman Bethurum was there as one of the speakers. So we knew that he was in contact with Venusians in that time. So we just hooked up with him and eventually made our way to uh, the hills in North Los Angeles, to the home of a woman who was hiding in plain sight because she went to she had gone to this this convention or something there in a hotel, and announced that she was a queen of Venus, and nobody really believed her, but that's why I say hiding in plain sight.
So she was a queen of Venus, and who
So
was
she was so she was one,
right?
and just living out her life in the United States.
We're living
Re,
in
re,
Hollywood, trying to get the fact of positive extraterrestrials into the movies.
yeah, and to change the image of grotesque kind of creatures to one that's more realistic of what it's really like. So anyway, she had um she had a similar uh, uh, time time probe device in her garage, and so we used it to get home.
And who was she in our history books? And her name was Queen Judith.
Ninu.
No, Queen Ninu. And what was her one of her lifetimes on Earth, the most important one?
Well, I think what I'll do is I don't want to give the whole story away because I want people to read it in the book and appreciate the book.
Well, I mean, folks, if you don't get the book after this, Cosmic Ray's Excellent Adventure, you don't have any curiosity.
Cosmic Ray's Excellent Venus Adventure is the name of the book.
So here are some of the famous contactees. This is Daniel Fry, George Adamski, our fellow Angelucci, Wayne Sulu Aho. Raymond's in his books have written many things on these people. There's the famous George Hunt Williamson, the guy with the red beret. This is Gabriel Green, a tall glass of water, I'll call him, kind of like Howard Menger. He is from the Alpha Centauri system, and he was Abraham Lincoln in a previous lifetime. He was a physicist and had information about flying saucers. There's Truman Bethram, the guy that took them back to the future. And anyway, they beamed down into her driveway, and she knew who they were. So these are the amazing contactees. We're going to talk about the future, but we can only learn about the future by our past. And there's my good buddy, Dr. Frank E. Stranges, um, the gentleman who watched his father's leg become fully restored at the age of 8 in Brooklyn as some Baptist Hallelujah Jesus is my friend. And Howard Menger, I took him.
Oh yeah, and I noticed that on the Doctor Strange's one, it mentions my friend from beyond Earth.
Yeah.
Before Stranger in the Pentagon, that's what he wrote in a little booklet.
Yes, he did. And I actually have a copy of that the Valiant Thor had sent to me, and I'm gonna show you that image right now just for the heck of it. So after Raymond and I went to China, we got arrested for daring to speak the truth and talk about extraterrestrial activity. And I'm gonna stop share and then I'm gonna share again. I don't know why that's not showing. There we go. Oh, there it is. Okay. So there's the Book of Valiant Thor, the original. That's why um, I call my little section there my friends, my friends from Venus. But so we have history here, folks, and we have some evidence and we have proof. So let's now go into the future. They had mentioned, for those of you, they had were addressing my summer conference and talking about all the wonderful people that many people have learned through Raymond and me as a junior postman. Um, I
Oh,
want
Rob, if people are interested on the East Coast, in May I'll be with Nick Corto and New York UFO Disclosure. And one of the topics we'll be discussing is Valiant Thor and the Venusian presence. That'll be in New York.
Nick Corso,
Nick Corto,
Corto.
UFO UFO Disclosure, New York.
Uh-huh. Very good. Well, if you can't have an extraterrestrial disclose themselves, Raymond Keller is your next best bet. So, the Queen, we heard those messages, and so I'm gonna play a little bit and hear her talk about. She said Helen Betty Mitchell, some famous contactees at Raymond's research. I believe Helen was at our last event this summer cause, and I'll ask that question because a woman named Helen came up and goes, she was really insistent on getting my attention, and she grabbed my arm. She goes, "I want to thank you very much for having this."
Oh, wow.
Bright blue eyes. I don't know. She's
Huh.
kind of short
Yeah.
hair. She has
Kind of curly hair, or
uh,
there's Helen and Betty, the sister Betty.
yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
Helen, her name was Helen, but I don't know.
I have some photographs of them in the Real Resident Aliens
Oh, I might check.
in that book.
So, okay, folks. So that's the past. So let's listen to what the Queen says a little bit about the future here. I'm going to continue this message that Raymond and I were listening to. So check this out, and if I might ask you a question at some point, Cos. So listen to this, folks.
are the fulfillment of the prophecy written by the Apostle Luke to the General Assembly of the Church of the Firstborn in Acts 2:16, which reads as follows. And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith God, I will pour out of my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams.
Guys, why don't you just go ahead and share? A lot of people get triggered by the Bible and things. And of course, we know that there's so much in the Bible that's been messed around, and so many people have died in the name of Christ, and so many lies have been perpetrated in wars and dogmas and control. Can you share why the Venusians are so emphatic on the Bible and as a history book of truth, as opposed to a dogmatic religion?
Well, in the um, in the in the New Testament, it says that the Bible is good for it's rightly dividing the word of truth, that it is for correction and reproof of doctrine and theology, that all spiritual matters. So it is a book with spiritual authority, and but it's not the only one. But it's the one that's most uh, recognizable to people in Western cultures.
Right.
It does say there that in the Gospel of John, it says that if all the books could be written about Jesus um, that need to be written, the world isn't big enough to hold all of them. So we definitely know that there is a lot more information that never made it there. But as a point of spiritual reference, the Bible is probably the highest caliber document. And
I
we
think
see.
now the Gospel of Thomas that you wrote is the highest.
Well, thank you. It was just to add a little extra illumination and understanding of what was going on, and it so jives with the Bible, and it's footnoted all throughout. So anybody who reads it can check it out and see that hey, cosmic ray didn't make up these things. There's already historical evidence for everything that's in there.
And of course, the message of Christ's life, that he lived it from the past, was an example that is always present in the future. So we're going to get into this here, and let's go a little more. And if you have anything you want to say, I'll let you just kind of make a comment. You can raise your hand, and I'll pause.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
Now, I feel at this point that I should say something to you about angels, since that's the theme of this most special conference. Your understanding of just who and what angels are is limited by the religious constructs imposed on you since birth. Apart from the atheists or agnostic, however, most believers in God and a hereafter can acknowledge the existence of a heaven or pleroma populated with both some of our dearly departed ones and a class of highly evolved spiritual beings commonly referred to as the angels. The word angel is derived from the Greek angelos, which simply signifies messenger. In the Bible, Standard King James Version, we find a compilation of 66 books consisting of 39 in the Old Testament and 27 in the New Testament. We know that angels, therefore, are important insofar as they are mentioned 273 times in 34 of these 66 books. And in all of these references, we find angels always presented in the context of being otherworldly visitors of a primarily spiritual nature, but having the ability to appear to humans, in most instances, in a form similar to that of the human body, with slight variations.
Oh,
Reverend Dr. Frank E. Strain.
yeah, this is very important. this is very important that angels take precautions on how they appear to humans, because we know that throughout the Bible, angels take many shapes and appearances. Sometimes they have a quite frightening appearance, like like the cherubim and so forth. They might appear to be some kind of hybrid between a bear and a human, or something scary. And so they don't want to scare people away, you know, make them afraid to communicate with angels, or be there to receive help from them. So when they normally appear under normal circumstances, they take on a human appearance, and that's why it says in the Bible that in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 2, that we should always be kind to one another, because we don't know whether we're actually entertaining an angel unawares. So this is this is an important concept that she brings out there.
It's also to be kind to strangers, no matter what they are, to help and to be compassionate and patient, and to help strangers that may need some help in any way, shape, or form. I did not know cherubim. Is this when Ezekiel, is that what he was seeing? Was some cherubim beings inside the at the River Shebar when he went inside the wheels within the wheels? Are these cherubim? And what
Oh,
are
oh yes, this was these were cherubim.
right?
And also there was a frightening angel placed in the Garden of Eden when Adam and Eve were expelled, to guard the way of the tree of life. And this was also a cherubim with a flaming sword. But we don't have a description other than that. What we know about cherubim is that they combine a human appearance with some kind of a creature's appearance, various creatures.
I did not know that. So are cherubim interdimensional, or are they Venusians?
The cherubim are ultra-dimensional beings. Yes.
Okay. And
Yeah,
would they
they
wouldn't be,
are.
we wouldn't know them as humans.
And so some of the ascended masters can also morph and take on different appearances.
Of course. Well, okay. So that's something new about cherubim. And these are supposed to be guardians, and sometimes they didn't really follow their highest calling.
Who lived on Earth from the period of 1927 to 2008 and now resides in the crystal city of Azure on Venus, was once director of the International Evangelism Crusade of Van Nuys, California, and a globally recognized authority of the subjects of extraterrestrial life and flying saucers. He now wants you to know that there are at least 4 classes of angels serving the inhabitants of the earth for various reasons: messenger angels, ministering angels, guardian angels, and reaper angels. These otherworldly entities frequently show up in the lives of human beings during their times of special need. Perhaps they will come to you in order to bring you safely through some distressing or dangerous situation, or perhaps to warn you of coming trials or catastrophe ahead. But in most cases, an angel will come to bring you words of spiritual knowledge, delivering secrets of the celestial realms, essential for your physical or spiritual salvation and eventual exaltation. Of course, these angels bring all of us such cosmic gnosis, not of their own accord, but as directed by the Father of lights. And then there is one classification of angels that long ago lost their privilege of serving humankind. These are the following ones. About 1/3 of the hosts of heaven that came from all 4 of these aforementioned categories of celestial servants but put themselves in rebellion to the creator of the universe and were, as a result of their defiance toward God, ousted from heaven. These are the ones you have to look out for, my friends, as they are lurking in all the dark corners of your world, ready to pounce on you like a roaring lion. In a previous message imparted to you by our beautiful Clarion Moon based commander, Aura Reigns, she told you of the COVID pandemic, that it was but a foreshadowing of the pale horse prophecy in the Apostle John's revelation given from the Isle of Patmos in the year 99 of your common era. This was a direct sign that we are approaching the predicted 7-year period of tribulation, granting assurance to you, the saints of God in these later days, that the reaping angels are standing by to whisk you away to super earths.
Okay, cause that deserves a cause comment.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Well, I think it's interesting that the COVID epidemic was just a little foretaste of things to come.
Fortunately, even though we've woken up to the fact that those were weapons used against mankind and to part of a depopulation program by some people in the federal governments, that's why there's nothing there for them. But they have nothing for us, and they're going to go away soon. But uh, uh, so a foretaste, I think this could be due to the heat that's coming to the earth in the future.
Well, that and I think that there's a lot of other epidemics that are kind of lying in the wings that have the potential to be something very, very serious. I know there's a lot of talk going back about 6 to 8 months about the bird flu, and now it seems to be popping up all over the world.
They're doing the same thing. It's not popping up. They're saying it's popping up. It's just it. There is no bird flu to be afraid of. There may be some little virus, but it's a vaccine we have to look out for. So, um, and don't worry, folks. I'm going to make this a private on my channel, so I don't care. I'm going to say Randy can say anything he wants. So, do you think that those will be man-made, cause?
Some are man-made and some are have just been buried um,
Speak a little bit.
in remote areas, and as they're being developed, the ground is being turned up or unloosing some things from the past that probably should have been left buried there.
Okay. Raymond, ever the understated diplomat. My God. Uh, okay, let's continue. Whisked away to super Earths. Let's hear a little more.
Okay, and as far as the
prepared for you in the Sirius star system and celestial incubator. And all of this in order that you'll be saved from alarm and danger when the four horsemen will ride across the sky and the blast of the seven angels' trumpets will announce the pouring out of the vials of plagues and destruction upon the earth, such as have not been seen since the days of the prophets Noah and Moses. It's very important to act while there is still time. About these angels, they also appear to herald the birth of very important figures, or even those who would be emerging on the scene. Sometimes they would come to caution the world about an enemy who could potentially threaten it. There is another scripture from the book of Revelation, chapter 14, verses 6, 7, which has great importance in our day. It reads as follows: And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. This will be the last call, the last chance for many to escape in the rapture of the saints.
Okay, cause that definitely needs some cosmic ray enforcement. Uh, she's talking about fearing God and the rapture of the saints and evacuations. And this is clearly an end times prognosis. And ladies and gentlemen, um, this is not to be feared. This is to be welcomed for the change that it is, and for us to gird our loins and to put on the armor of our spiritual nature, the armor of God, of truth, of honesty, of perseverance, of justice, of faith, charity, temperance, equanimity, courage, all of these things. Cos, can you please continue on and share some things about this end times and
Oh, oh, sure. I think in the context that we find the word fear in the Bible, it often refers to awe and reverence for God and his mighty power. So, in that sense, uh, the uh, the angels often come down and assure the saints that they should fear not the events swirling around them in the world because they have the mighty God's protection in going through all of these events.
okay, well, let's talk about the rapture and the reaper angels and the super earth and what does all that mean and who is going where and how is the choosing
Oh,
taking
oh,
place and
all right. Well,
get a little more detailed cause people are
this
when the spaceships come down what are they going to supposed to do.
it's interesting in our spiral arm of the galaxy um, that Sirius is actually a much younger star than our own sun, and it's constantly expanding. In fact, it's moving in our direction, and there's three suns in the Sirius sector, one brown dwarf, and then Sirius A and B. Um, and when she talks about an incubator of worlds, these are worlds that are being prepared for not only people of Earth um, in a heavenly paradisical state, but also from other planets in the confederation of planets. And so this is a very beautiful thing because uh, Jesus references himself. He said that he's going away to prepare a place for us um, in the heavens, a heavenly home, and that's where it is. It's in the Sirius star sector, and one day the Earth itself will be, and our whole solar system will combine with the Sirius sector in a bright new uh, in a brighter new sun, and the whole
Probably what 3 or 4 million years.
yeah, it'll be paradisical. Well, time is essentially irrelevant when it comes to the celestial realms.
Says the time traveling master. Well, I mean, folks, we start going to these realms, but it is exciting when we hear people will be uh, uh, being taken off to asteroid space platforms. Eventually we're going to have floating cities on the Earth, and we're talking about that. And right now, at the same time, we're giving you a warning. You know, I want you to think of me as Jack Nicholson and the Feel Good Men. You can't handle the truth. I'm not trying to promote negativity or fear, but we have to realize, Allah, the chief said, everything in the Bible must needs be fulfilled. And
Well,
so
I think that in the long run, the future is looking brighter, so much brighter that we're all going to need to wear some shades.
I know I was just going to say that because I could see that one coming. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, gee, we've got a telepathic link here going on.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, so I've been thinking about Omnic and made a couple calls. She finally called me today, folks. And I said, what Odin had a message. She had a message. She told it in Germany this summer, and she mentioned and she confirmed what I know is coming from the heat. And ladies and gentlemen, the heat, my God, the heat. So what's happening now is the entire solar system is going through a hydrogen cloud. It's not all dense, the same density. There's ribbons of heater, hotter areas, but as this planet goes through that, that strips off our outer ionosphere. Our ionosphere is already in a delicate condition, not so much, but definitely due to fossil fuels and things, but primarily due to mankind's abuse of nuclear power. Chernobyl, Fukushima, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, Trinity, all of these underground and above ground tests have destroyed, and we'd be walking around like mutants if it were not for the Venusians and their incessant, silent service to the Earth in mitigating the effects of nuclear radiation, while we continue to allow our leaders to push forward into deadly forms of technology that uh, have been promoted by fallen angels from bad places. They're gone now, and mankind must step up into the future. And I have deep and great respect for Ground Command Kim Gogan. And I talked this week with Thomas Melville. He's a second in command, and he's been trying to get them. The tier one bankers are going broke. That normally at this time of year, money would come flooding out, and they'd declare martial law all over the planet, and the demons would provide money to the humans to do the dirty deeds dirt cheap, and they would take 9 cents of every dollar and steal it for their wealth and for them to buy condos and cars and to create wars. When they call it the theater of war, it's produced by someone. And the theater, the main theater, was Satan or Lucifer, that kind of Draco reptilian negative consciousness that does not see the unity of spirit and consciousness. So,
Well, Rob, wherever Omnet goes, amazing things seem to follow her. And when I was in Germany with her, um, there were all kinds of phenomena taking place, and I've written about it, and so people could read about it.
it's on my blog, folks. Check it out. When Raymond talks about uh, the Venusians, go back into my blog, The Victory of Light, a couple of posts ago, and you can read about Raymond's wonderful experience. What she told me is that because of the heat that we're going through, that's stripping the ionosphere. And then, of course, we have the asteroid coming. So she said Odin's message to people in Germany was for everyone to stop looking on your phones and scrolling. You're not paying attention to anyone. You have your earphones in, you're not communicating with people. You're in an endless mind, a mindless scrolling of bits of information which are not actually human interaction. And what's going to happen, folks, is it's all going to go down. And that's going to happen when probably, maybe even before, but when that asteroid comes between the Earth and the Moon, 450 miles, it's going to uh, do a lot of damage to our satellites. So imagine you won't have satellites, and everything that you rely on for a computer in a wireless, in an internet is gone. So we're not prepared for this eventuality. And this is when the brothers will come down. They will aid us in food production. They will guide us in these things. And I'm hoping that I've sending some information to Raymond that this information can get to ground command and some other things too that uh, we're not alone here and we will be helped. I do believe the Pleiadians and others will be involved. um, Elena Denon seems to think it'll be the Pleiadians who will initiate first contact. I'm not so sure. I have a feeling the Venusians are going to be playing a major role because they are our closest neighbor. I also believe the inner Earth groups will be coming forward, but because they are more exotic in their physiognomy, the ant people and the various inner Earth dwellers that are there and the interdimensionality of it all, that there will be members of what we would know as the Watchers of the Great White Brotherhood, humanoid beings from other worlds who came here to hold the light after the fall of some of the inner Earth. Is that correct, Cos?
Oh yeah, yeah. I believe that those that are in closest proximity to us will be the ones making the first contact,
Hmm.
not from another solar system.
Right.
Although I'm sure that they'll be in contact eventually because the Venusians aren't alone in being the inhabitants of other planets. Yeah, I think it'll be locally. I'm expecting something uh, very big to happen too at the conference, similar to when Omnek and I were in Germany, because
Yeah.
we had all kind of manifestations um, taking place of the Venusian presence, and I'm sure that these kind of things follow Omnek wherever she goes,
And
and
you, Cos, I think, you know, with it's the workshop, only 40 people, folks. I'm going to be announcing that. I'm not
that's
really,
what we had in Germany. It was just like 30 people.
we're going to allow 40 with some helpers. So if you really want to come and spend some intimate time with some ascended masters in person, I'm going to be sharing and some orb pictures. And one of my conferences, there were like 300 orbs in one photo. The Venusians were hanging out at the drum circle. Everyone was screaming and yelling. I was exhausted. I remember I was I had a motorhome then, was parked on site, and I was just cooking a meal and just gonna pour into bed. I remember smiling to myself. The crowd was so excited. Woo! The drum was going, and people were just going, having a great time. And I really wish that I could have, had the energy to do it. And that's one of the things I'm looking forward to at this summer conference is giving more intimate teachings with you and Omnek and going into teaching people the science of meditation and some of the more esoteric teachings that you have with linking the higher self and telepathy. We'll be doing some mantras, some exercises divine designed by the Venusians that they gave to the Tibetans to
Mhm.
develop some of the higher faculties of spiritual communication. I've had so many spaceship sightings. For me, it's not that I don't really even. It's not a big deal to me. But when they start coming down and landing, I'm going to.
And it's interesting all these connections with Tibet because Hope Troxel and her initial contacts had all opened with the contact with Tibetan masters.
Interesting. Speaking of home trucks, well, look what I happened to pull up.
Oh wow, okay.
I knew that this was coming, so I got all this going here. Uh, so,
Wow.
so she's talking about she was a school of thought, interesting woman. She wasn't real famous, but she was there at Giant Rock, and she met this man who was clean shaven, dressed impeccably in 105-degree heat. His gray flannel socks were sharply creased, and a spanking white shirt was open at the neck and rolled at the cuffs. From the moment he entered the path, I noticed his bright blue, joyous smile, but the eyes really got me, such china blue eyes. He never took his eyes off me. The smile was steady. So this is Raymond's got some information. He's going to be sharing a little bit more on this beautiful woman and her mission. She drove home. She's from June Lake, watching the Sierra Madre range of the mountains. Suddenly, to the right of Mount Wilson, there appeared low in the cloudless sky three huge, flat, circular discs. A white cosmic craft hovered in triangular motion formation, then shot silently towards the setting sun toward the end of 1963. Hope was guided to move into Independence, California, near Mount Whitney after the initial activities at Independence. Hope was again directed to move to the central focus north to June Lake, California. So this is the Giant Rock uh, Memorial by Reverend Short down here. And then all of these famous contactees. There's my buddy Wendell Stevens. I met Guy Kirkwoyle as well. And this guy is really a trip, isn't he, Buck Nelson?
Oh yeah, Buck Nelson.
I mean, what would you explain him as?
I his experiences were quite real. He was delivered a lot of information about the spiritual hierarchy in our solar system, and I wrote about him extensively with all original photographs from his home that he'd taken of flying saucers. He was originally from Colorado, but moved to Missouri and had a ranch.
Yeah,
And
he wore overalls and he was quite
yeah, he was.
his eyes looked like it could look right through you, piercing blue, crystal blue eyes. And here's some of the this is underneath the giant rock and the famous place where the channeling took place. And this was at the Giant Rock Convention, and the select few inner circle got to go down there and have some conversations and radio shows that looked like Long John Nebel there. They had a little rope that the kids could swing on, and it looked like a gay old time. This lady's trying to get a backstage pass, but it's locked. And I don't know. It looks like they're laying depth charges here, but a radio guy up here. So, um, there's Buck Nelson and all the contactees. This woman had walked 10,000 miles on foot for world peace. And so a lot of uh, people there. George Van Tassel, he looked like a G-man, right? This is very
Yeah.
54, and you look at this, folks. I'm going to guess there were, with all the campers out there too, there must have been 300 people at one of these, and he's standing on pizza boxes. You got to love that, right? So here's where the people, yeah, look at that guy. I get it's what like it sounds like a radio. And the G-man from the United States government, and the Japanese moving in, you know, in the 50s. I love it. So this is a real treasure trove. I think I'm gonna have this. I'm gonna purchase this a hard copper copy for 6 by 9 in color for those of these that are in color. And there's Gabe Green. He was such a character. His wife had passed. Tell us a story about Gabe, Cos.
Well, Gabe was actually had a degree, I think, from Berkeley in physics, and knew all about subatomic particles and about time travel and everything.
Lady, look to the left. There's Raymond. He's stepping out. They're dropping to the sky. Oh my God. This is amazing, folks, when you think about it. This picture was not there in the 50s, and there's the cops getting ready to zoom in and scoop Raymond up had they known. So it was amazing time for UFOs uh, and you'll notice these people are not fanatics. They're very intelligent. A lot of evidence being shown here, right, Cos?
Yes.
Look at him. Van Tassel. He worked for Howard Hughes, right?
Yes, he did. Uh-huh.
And how about this lady? She had a family on Venus, right?
That's right. Um,
Dana Howard.
Dana Howard, yes. She had one family on Earth and another one on Venus.
Yeah. Hopefully her husband wasn't jealous.
Oh, she wrote a book also, Dana Howard, about
My flight to Venus.
My Flight to Venus, and also she wrote a prophetic book about one day a woman being elected president of the United States who was who is a reincarnated Venusian soul named Vesta.
Liar. No, I hope that's true. I hope it comes true sooner than later. That would be a really good thing. It looks like we have the hymnal UFO songs there. There's a shopping cart guy. Amazing, huh? Look at that. These are the old people who are really into the flying saucer. So anyway, folks, I'm gonna end this little commemorative here, and I just wanted to play the rest of the message, and we'll let Raymond take us out with some closing thoughts on the message and any other things that he feel is compelling. All right, here we go.
The terrible calamities coming as foretold in the remainder of chapter 14. Do not hesitate to sound the voice of warning throughout the land. These visitors have been appearing since the beginning of time. If you go back into ancient history, you will find that in many cultures and civilizations all around the world, there is evidence of otherworldly visitors with wings who would come to speak with important figures on earth in whom they felt could help them in carrying out the contents of their messages. The wings, of course, quote unquote, are representative of this being's ability to fly. Overall, we know that there were messengers that came throughout time. And I will let you in on a little fourth dimensional Venusian secret. These angels also came to earth in and out of time. There was no partiality shown in the deliverance of the message geographically or spiritually. And so, do you want to know who is that angel flying in the midst of heaven? You, the light worker, are that angel. In fact, you were called to be an angel before you were ever incarnated on the earth plane. And that is your calling, dear one, to be a messenger of the light and spread the gospel or good news of the coming degrees of glory and exaltation that await each and every child of God should they step up into that marvelous light. And please keep in mind Dr. Frankie Strange's and Lady Ankara's favorite verse, Hebrews 13:2, which clearly explains each and everyone's highest calling on earth's material plane. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Exercising kindness is the key that unlocks the door to celestial riches, both abundant and eternal. Hold on to your heads, dear ones. We are all in for a real roller coaster ride in the next decade. This is the Queen, Order of Aberhar. Thank you for your kind attention.
Well, that's a pretty powerful one, folks, and I want you to realize um, that's head of the Venusian Society, patterned after the bees, head of the Royal Court of Venus, contains both men and women, and she is also the head of the Solar Council. And my friend Hank can confirm, Thomas Melville, that she is head of the Galactic Confederation of Light. 601 worlds, 51 solar systems in this quadrant of the galaxy that administer to this solar system. That is a confederation that we will join. It is possible we may join some other ones as well, but that's to be seen in the future. Probably, I'm not going to say in Raymond and my lifetime, unless our lifetimes are extended and we can come back. So, Kaz, I would like you to uh, share anything you like. And by the way, folks, please check out his sporty little facial hair here. It looks like he's going to be playing bongos with Dobie Gillis there. So the Mr. Handsome Man, please take us out with some philosophical, spiritual, exciting prognoses for the future based on the contacts that we've revealed from the past, laying the groundwork of the spiritual information that's coming forth and the challenges for humanity in the future.
Yes, thank you, Rob. People want to know how they can be activated uh, into coming into this new universe and all these amazing things. And I think the Queen adequately stated it there that, or more than adequately stated that that when we're in service to our fellow beings, when we're manifesting kindness and everything, this is the door that opens up all of these avenues. Um, it's not so much a ritualistic thing, but that's how we tune our hearts in with the hearts of the celestials is by manifesting these acts of kindness. So there's nothing more that I can really add on to what she had said.
Thank you, cause I'm always pretty straightforward and honest, and I have to admit I had an opportunity to possibly come into closer association, and I was in Newport Beach in an Apple store, and the woman was freaking out because she couldn't get a refund, and I was watching her, and they called her in. She was raising her voice a little bit, and the police came, and she was sitting on the floor making a little drama, and like five police in there. And so, I just busted in. I got up out of my chair. I go, ma'am, are you okay? Are you okay? I know these guys are a little intimidating here. Are you all right? And she goes, well, yeah, yeah. I said, look, I said, you're not going to get any satisfaction today. They follow their rules. But you just take a step back and, in the future, the corporate will deal with your situation and you'll probably have some sort of conclusion. And the cop came over to me afterwards and said, thank you very much for that. And then as I was leaving, she said, I want to thank, she came over and thanked me. And then I walked over and I was heading, I had one of my massage clients and he represents like, 300 bucks, you know, and this guy with really big glasses, like comical big glasses. I mean, they look like
Like
super,
the
like
bottom of Coke bottles or something.
exactly. He looks at me, he says, "Can I follow you?" And I go, what do you mean? He goes, "Can I follow you?" And I was like, and I was kind of thinking, what's going on? I thought maybe he was autistic or something. And he says, "Well, can I follow you?" And I said no. And then I stopped and I turned around. I go, what do you need? And he goes, "Well, I don't have." He goes, I can't get a hold of my family and I'm lost. And I said, do you have a phone? He said, no. I said, do you have a number? I said, no. I said, do you have a name or something? So I was trying and I just like, and he said, can I follow you? I said, I really don't, you know, know what I can do, you know? It was a little nicer to him. I thought it was just being strange at first. And then I kind of tuned in and I said, well, no. And and there was a security guard. And so I took him over and kind of explained the situation and left him with him. I should have walked him down the Himalayan path and I might have gone to Venus. No, I mean, I'm paraphrasing a story of the Venusian translated being from Rishikesh, India, ladies and gentlemen, who helped a Hindu saint in 15 or in 1935 or something, who she helped without getting paid her money from the East India Company, and she was rewarded with a trip to Venus, and she's now an ascended master. So I realized afterwards, I was going home. I go, it kind of was on my mind. I kind of thought, wow, I should have. And then all of a sudden, after the massage or during the massage, I go, wait a minute. I was like thinking, whoa, that was a Venusian test, and I kind of blew it. So I need to be real slow and real patient and real kind with others. I mean, I wasn't mean to him. I was a little bit in the beginning. I was like, he was a little, it was very odd for someone to come up and go, "Can I follow you?" I was like, I, go- I go, I was like, "Oh, do you know me from Facebook? Would you like to?" Ridiculous. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've enjoyed a little intimate conversation with the wonderful Wizard of Cos Raymond Keller, the uh, the guy who's been a scroll and a scribe since its first incarnation, traveled to Venus, lived there for 2.5 months, full of wisdom, full of patience and kindness, a trusted member of the angel force, who shared so much metaphysical knowledge in his books. I will ask you to please go to my shop section on my website, go under books, and we have a lot of books. And I think the only one we don't have in stock right now too much is Portal, but I think we have a couple of every one. But I really would encourage you to purchase the group books. You can get an incredible amount of books for like $5 or $6. You want to buy the whole package of like 8, 9 books or something. I think he's offering it for $120. There is so much wisdom in here of spiritual, metaphysical nature and a lot of truth. So, um,
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, the West Virginia UFO portal tells the story in there about Dorothy Martin, who is later became known as Sister Thedra. She was originally from Charleston, West Virginia, born there in 1902. Interestingly, the same year as Lady Columba. And
died here in
so,
Mount Shasta, a very famous woman.
yeah, lived in Mount Shasta. All of her revelations are presented in that book chronologically with original artwork and documentation and photographs. So if you ever want to know about Sister Thedra, it's in that book. And yeah, just, you know, I just thank you, listeners and viewers. Uh, I don't have any organization or anything. I just write these Venus books. So I really appreciate uh,
Support.
everyone who reads them or who writes me or you could reach me through Rob through the Promise Revealed, and I'll be happy to try and answer your question. And most definitely, I'll look forward to seeing you all there with our friend Omnek Onek together with Rob Potter this summer.
Yeah, June 28th. That'll go up probably within a week. I keep saying that, but I'm waiting on the fancy flyer and to get things done. But group meetings, we're gonna have musical guests, yoga, meditation, pranayama, videos, movies. We're gonna play all of the messages. We're gonna go through them. They're gonna analyze them. You can ask all the questions. And we very well may have a clandestine extraterrestrial walking amongst us. I know they're going to be there invisibly, but if you're sensitive enough, you might even figure it out, let alone Omnek, the real Venusian, is there to answer your questions. God bless you all. Thank you so much, Raymond Keller.
Thank
And,
you, Rob.
and we'll see you all next time, folks. All right. Uh, God bless and good night. And good night, Gracie, or whatever they said in the old days.
Good night and happy new year to all and to all yours as well.
Amen. Bye.